Well, hello. Welcome to DuckTalks. My name's Mitch. I'm going to be one of your hosts. This is DuckTalks. We talk about all things DuckTales. We started off talking about the Disney XD reboot of DuckTales. We're kind of in a hiatus, so we're trying to find things to talk about. Thankfully, it's a good time to be a fan of the Disney afternoon because there's a lot of stuff coming out right now. And I'm taking a moment just to look and see what the date is because I was about to tell you. This is actually Tuesday the 13th, and you're listening to episode 15 of DuckTalks. Probably going to be editing on the 14th, so you should be listening to this on the 15th. So, happy Thursday. Glad you're here, and hope you're ready for some conversation about some ducks, because that's what we're going to talk about, some Disney ducks. Pirate's not with me this week. He's got some stuff going on. We've all been busy. And he'll be back soon. Maybe he'll tell us a little bit about what he's into. But when Pirate's not here, I think you guys know we invite Josh. So I've got Josh with me. How you doing, Josh?
Hey, good. I'm doing great. I'm glad to be back. I'm excited to talk about some DuckTales and all the other Disney afternoon things that's been happening this past few weeks. And it's good to be back.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about Disney Afternoon and things like that because we're not ready to talk about the show much just yet. It's coming. We're going to get there. And as a community and as a fandom, we can get through this. We are your support group. Listen, if you're having a hard time with this hiatus, check us out. We're on Twitter at DuckTalks. We have our blog, DuckTalks.com. And we appreciate, actually, let me take a moment. We just want to say that we really appreciate all the traffic that we've been getting. You guys, it's just been amazing the last couple of months. Josh, I think I've sent you some updates on the traffic, but it's actually grown even beyond what I've sent you. There's just so many people coming, checking things out. And when I look at why people, because, I can see what searches led people to the site. A lot of times it's about the hiatus and about the show taking a break. So who knows? Maybe when DuckTales comes back, maybe when DuckTales comes back on the air, we will lose all that traffic. But right now, there's a lot of people checking out the site, and it's not just those articles; it's various stuff that we're writing. So I want to say thank you to everyone who's been coming by the blog and reading what we're writing about, and also reach out to us and let us know what you like. We enjoy writing and talking about this stuff, but, as much as we enjoy it, we also want to make sure that we're writing and talking about things that, people enjoy reading about.
Yeah, it's good to hear that you are getting traffic for, I know it's kind of sad that it's the hiatus, but I think people are kind of getting to know who you guys are and kind of learning about the podcast and learning about all the cool Disney merch that are coming out. So I think in a way it's positive. For a positive spin on it is that we're getting a hiatus, but we're also learning about all this cool new stuff that's coming out, and we're able to provide that information for everybody. So I think that's kind of a cool thing that you guys are able to provide for them.
Yeah, when the show took a break, I mean, we knew a break was coming. We had seen some interviews from some of the creators saying that there would be a break sometime around the winter time. We knew we were going to have to come up with some content, come up with some stuff if we were going to start a podcast. When we did, which was about halfway through the 9 episodes that aired, we knew we were going to have a little bit of a break. I don't think we realized it was going to be this long.
Oh, yeah.
And
much longer.
Yeah, much, much longer. And then, it's been really fun to try and I feel like we've never had to come up with things to talk about. Like, we're recording tonight. We weren't actually planning on recording tonight. This kind of came together just a few hours ago. And I was like, okay, I'll send Josh the notes. And I opened up my notes and it said DuckTalks episode 15. And that was it. And I was like, okay, so I got to compile some stuff. So thankfully, whenever I see something, I just take a screenshot of it on my phone and save it so that I have stuff. So our notes are all screenshots from my phone, you'll notice, and you can kind of see where my battery was at the time that I took the picture.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's tons of stuff to talk about because it's a good time to be a fan of the Disney afternoon and Disney animation in general. I know there's been a lot of things going on with the networks. We've heard a lot of rumors about things that are going on with the Disney Channel and Disney XD and Disney Junior. And, it's great that the Disney Channel is getting, its own lineup of Disney animation coming up soon. So I kind of feel like that has a lot to do with the hiatus. That's my theory. It's one you can find on DuckTalks.com that I've written a blog about. And every day I see little things that make me believe that more and more, that the reason why the show's on hiatus is because there's some restructuring going on at the network. So hopefully we get some episodes soon. But until then, we'll keep talking about what we can talk about.
Yeah, I think whatever they're doing, we kind of get the impression from the producers that it's a good thing for at least for DuckTales and for all the other shows. So I'm looking forward to seeing what exactly they're working on, and then I'm sure whatever the result is going to be worth the wait for us. So I'm excited for it.
Me as well. Those are. I think that's what we got to do. We got to stay positive about it. So that's what you'll find from us when you check us out online. We're trying to stay positive about what's going on and just stay excited about what's to come. So let's get into a few news items. Actually, halt. Let me put the brakes on that. Before we get into news items, you 2 weeks ago had a pretty fun experience with something that has to do with the Disney afternoon. And me and Pirate got to live vicariously through you as you sent us some pictures and talked about it. So why don't you tell the listeners of Duck Talks a little bit about, you got to go to Gallery Nucleus.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. It opened up on February 24th, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. I wanted to go during the day, but circumstances caused me to have to go in the evening. So I was like, I'm going to not get there right away. Hopefully there won't be a whole lot of people. Hopefully things won't be sold out or anything like that. And as the day kind of progressed, I saw some news that some people who were planning on be there, Tad Stones was planning on be there, James Silvani, Sparrow, and who else? Franklin Gomez was planning on being there too as well.
Yeah, I sent you that news.
yeah, you sent that me, and so I was kind of getting excited. And they're like, "Oh, they're gonna be there around 7." I'm like thinking, "Oh, that was when I was planning on being there." So I was pretty excited. I was hoping to meet somebody, and so we drove out there. It's about an hour drive from where we live, and we get there, and there was a line out the door. I was like, "Okay, that's fine. It's opening night, and it's probably gonna be okay." So we went and we parked. And we walk over to where the store is, and we realized that the line went around the building.
Oh, wow.
And so we were like, okay, I guess it's still pretty busy in there. So we finally make it around in there, and the place is packed. But once we finally got in, the back, they have a storefront, and when you go in, where they sell generic art, not generic, but like just their art for what they normally sell from the day-to-day. And then in the back of the store... So
they're like local artists?
Yeah, like local stuff. And then in the back, they had their whole Disney Afternoon section that was like showcasing the art for the Disney Afternoon. And you were actually able to purchase some of the art. Not everything, but some of the art you were able to purchase.
Now, were they selling the originals, or was it all prints? Because I know a lot of what was online was prints.
Yeah, I believe it was only prints. There were originals there, and I don't think those were being sold.
Okay.
And so they all kind of had them along the wall, around the back, kind of like curved around, and they kept them in sections of the same type of Disney Afternoon show. And they had a wide variety of stuff from like the classic Disney afternoon to more modern day Disney afternoon artwork, which is actually surprised me. I was thinking it was kind of more the older stuff, but they had gummy bears. They had a section for DuckTales, and what was cool. Some of the artwork for DuckTales was the new style, and some of it was the old style. So it was really cool seeing. Some of them were like side by side, almost the exact same thing, but the different styles of the show, which was really cool to see. And then there was a section for Rescue Rangers and Tailspin, Darkwing Duck. And then it kind of started getting more newer as we go along with the Gargoyles, which is still part of, I would say, part of the classic Disney afternoon. Yeah. And then they had Timon and Pumbaa and Recess stuff. And then they had there was a Stitch show. I forget the name of the show. It was where there was a bunch of his was it his cousins or something? Like I never watched that show, but there was like a bunch of different types of.
Yeah, I think he called them cousins. There was a movie, and then I think the show branched off of that.
That's right. And then they had a little bit of Tron, the TV show art.
You know, that's an underrated show.
I actually never watched. I wanted to watch a show, and then I never got around to doing it. And I think it only lasted a season.
It was one
like
season.
It was pretty short. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I think that might have been the first thing that I ever watched on Disney XD.
Yeah, it looked like it was a pretty neat show. I just never got around to watching that one. And then let's see, there was some Gravity Falls stuff. So like as we kind of progressed, it got to newer and newer shows. Let's see, I think there's stuff for the new Tangled show and Big Hero 6 show that are currently on the, I guess, the channel right now.
Now, was it all divided up by show, or was some of it divided up by artist?
I believe it was all by show because they were all kind of grouped together.
Okay.
And there was different artists within each little group, but it didn't have anything like designating the different sections. It just kind of was like this kind of art, and then it would just change to a different show.
Yeah, I'm looking through because I've still got the thread where you were sending the pirate pictures, and everyone who listens to this show should know I'm a huge fan of Darkwing Duck and James Silvani. And he did this piece that's like Darkwing through the years, and of course, I mean, these versions of Darkwing have never existed. He's come up with this himself based off classic Duck cartoons, and that was Silvani, right? Silvani, yeah, I see a signature. Yeah. That's definitely one of my favorite pieces.
Yeah, that one is really cool because it does kind of capture the older style of the animation. Mm-hmm. Like if it kind of looks like Donald did when they first started drawing him, but then like a Darkwing Duck version of it. So it's kind of a neat kind of progression.
Yeah, I really like how they did that because it looks like if you were to see images of Donald through the years, that's what he's done with Darkwing. So it's really cool, and the Gravity Falls stuff's really cool too. Yeah,
I wish some of that stuff was available for purchase, but it was kind of limited to certain things where they sold the prints for, and there was like a limited quantity for each one, and some of the actual pieces were numbered where there was only so many made of this print where people were able to buy them.
Silvani's DuckTales piece just blows my mind.
Yeah, that unfortunately was not one that you could purchase, but that one was really neat.
They didn't even do a print of that, did they?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's even got Pete. Oh, Doofus. It's great. And I think Gallery Nucleus has had all these, the majority of these on their website. So I don't know if they're still there, but you can take a look at them.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah, it was a really awesome experience just seeing all the artwork of just through the years and a lot of just nostalgia there. And I was able to meet. I ran into Tad Stones. I was able to meet him. I got his autograph. And got a picture with him.
Tad Stones is great.
Yeah, it was really neat to meet him. And I also did meet Salvani and Sparrow, and had them sign. I happened to bring my trade back versions of the Darkwing Duck, of the latest Darkwing Duck, and I didn't know, but they actually had that for sale at the store, and they had, before I got there, signed a bunch of them. But I had brought my own, and they I got like a personal autograph, and they each of them drew like a character in. It was inside the book, but they drew a different character on each book, so it was just a really cool experience.
Yeah, they're awesome. I knew they would do that. We had talked about that before you left. And did you take your own Sharpie, or did they just happen to have Sharpies on them?
I brought my own just in case. Sure. I was just like, just in case if I run into them. And then when I got there was that big old line. I was like, oh, I don't even know if I want to bring these in because they'll probably be gone by the time I get in there. But they were still there, and I was able to get the autographs. It was just really fun.
Now, Tad drew pictures too, didn't he? I'm looking at it right now.
Did I send you the pictures?
Yeah, you sent me the pictures.
Okay. Yeah.
You've been sick since then.
Yeah. Tad drew Darkwing Duck, and then Duck of Doom.
Yeah, a Hellboy version. Is that what it is?
I'm not sure.
I think that's what it is. Like, because Tad Stones also produced a Hellboy cartoon.
Oh, okay.
An animated movie, I think. So, I mean, if you look at the sawed-off horns and the toothpick, I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's what I thought when I first saw it.
And then I got another Darkwing Duck, and then drawn in, and then I had Launchpad, Quackerjack, and then Megavolt.
Man, I'm glad you got to meet those guys because they're awesome. We talk about their work a lot, but we're huge fans, and we hope to have them on the show sometime to talk about the comic, and maybe they get to talk about some future stuff that they have going on, or not, whatever. We'd really like to talk about the comic with them.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it was cool. I know you were excited to meet them and to get a chance to see them there. Now, I think you said Frank had slipped out right after you got there.
Yeah, I saw him, and he was with a group of people, and there were people talking with him, and so I didn't want to like butt in and be like, "Oh, hey, I'm some random person."
Should have walked up and went, "Pineapple."
But I was trying to make my way over there, and then they had gone by the time I finished with everybody else. So fortunately, I didn't get to talk to them at all, but I did get to see them.
Yeah, from my lurking on Twitter, because I follow them and was trying to keep up with what you were telling us about it. I saw that a lot of the animators of the show were actually there. So people who work on DuckTales were there in the room. That's probably who was all standing around Frank. So yeah, that's really cool. It sounded like a really cool experience.
It was really neat. Something that I didn't expect to happen like years after the show. It was just a really cool experience. It just amazes me about how much of this Disney afternoon stuff is starting to come back since DuckTales has been announced, and it's a really neat experience to just kind of see this all again.
Yeah, I mean, you said the line was wrapped around the building, and the majority of those people were probably there for that display, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
They had these little also. They gave out those square things that have different pictures of prints of artwork.
Oh yeah,
we had shared those previously. They actually gave out the first 200 people. They gave out a full set of them, and then after that, the only way to get them was to purchase something.
Okay.
And so, if you bought something, you were able. They were supposed to just give them out random, but I talked them into giving me one of my choice. So.
Which one did you get?
I got the Rescue Rangers one.
Nice. That's the one I would have picked.
Yeah. I first got, I think I got the Recess one, but I was like, I watched Recess, but it wasn't like one of my favorite shows. So I got something that I would enjoy more.
Well, that's cool. That's awesome. So, and there's just so many people out there that the Disney afternoon touched our childhood, and it was such a big part of that. Getting home and having that hour or whatever of television that was just geared towards you, and those shows, they're just special to us, and that's why we're here talking about it on a podcast, and that's why you drove an hour to go look at this gallery.
Exactly.
And I think it's awesome. Like, I was surprised by some of the properties that they had art for, and they really covered just about everything. I don't think there was any Goof Troop.
No, no Goof Troop.
And no Bonkers.
Nope, no Bonkers.
But everything else, I think, Gummy Bears. It was Gummy Bears.
There was Gummy Bears. And another thing that I've found surprising as well is in the front where the kind of the store was, they actually had a display of a bunch of the new merchandise for Disney Afternoon. So they had a lot of the Funko figures available for purchase, and they had Darkwing. They had the mystery minis from Funko. They actually had one of the comic trade backs. I think it was the one of the first episode where they kind of they do the comic version of the first episode.
Oh, the Cine Story.
Yeah, I believe that was the one.
It's a little bit smaller than a comic book.
Yeah, it was a little smaller.
Yeah,
and
all that was for sale, right?
Yeah, all that for sale. There were actually people. The Darkwing started going really fast because once Tad Stone was there, people were having him autograph the figure. I was like, oh, shoot, I should have brought mine.
Yeah. Those came out after I met Tad, but if I make it out, if the gang is going to be at Dragon Con, because, see, I've not met Aaron Sparrow yet. He wasn't at Dragon Con when I went. And so if they're going to be there again this year, I'm going to take my figure and get them to sign the cape.
Yeah, for sure.
But when I went last year, we didn't have all this. This all came out in the last year.
Yeah, it's amazing about how much stuff that they produced.
Yeah. It seems that Funko has the rights to the classic Disney Afternoon, and that's what they're working with.
Well, they do a lot of new stuff as well.
Well, they haven't yet with the Disney Afternoon, though.
Oh, I see what you're saying, like the animation side of it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we haven't had any official announcements other than Fat Mojo saying that they had DuckTales 2017.
Yeah, that's true. As in terms of Disney Afternoon, but they also, I guess they have made some like Gravity Falls that would be considered.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's kind of interesting that Gravity. As we think about the mindset moving forward of Disney's animation department, they included Gravity Falls in this, and it was like this was the Disney Afternoon gallery, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, because it's part of Disney Animation, but and Tangled as well. Was there Big Hero 6 stuff? I think there was.
Yeah, there was Big Hero 6 stuff.
Okay.
Not a lot. I think there was like 2 pieces of art, but it was being represented. And then one of the square, I guess the artworks that they were giving out was Big Hero 6 as well.
That's right. That's what I saw. Well, that sounded like that was a great time. I think it closes this week. So if you're in the area and you've heard, you can look it up and check and see. Don't drive out there based off me saying that.
Look,
but
I think I have something here that says when it closes March 11th, which was 2 days ago.
Yeah,
it's already closed.
So you missed your chance. Sorry. But no, you can go online and see a lot of the work that was there, and it's some really cool stuff. I enjoyed looking through it, and I still go through and look at some of the work. I'm an art nut. I just enjoy animation and enjoy comics and that style of art, and wish I was better at it. So I like to study what other people do. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about what's in the news. DuckTales issue 7 of the IDW comic will be out tomorrow for us. This is Tuesday, so that's Wednesday. Was yesterday for you because I imagine this is going to come out on Thursday. See, podcasting's so much fun. We're just traveling back and forth in time as we talk. But it's Wednesday the 14th is when the issue comes out. And I wanted to make sure we pointed that out because I think we're all used to it coming out on later, the following week, usually in the 20s, whatever week's in the 20s. But issue 7 will be out this week. If you haven't picked it up, you ought to. It's a great issue. It's a couple of new stories, great stories. I'm not going to go into any type of spoilers or anything because I know Josh hasn't read it yet. Should be another great issue. I know Joe Caramagna is writing both of the short stories, and we did a quick write-up of kind of the little synopsis of the episodes on DuckTalks. So listeners can check that out. Of course, by the time this comes out, the comic's out. So just drive out to your local comic book store and pick up a copy. And that's how I always recommend you get them. But there's other ways to get them, including buying them on Comixology, who's having a great sale right now. Josh, I don't know if you read digital comics, but
I'll have to check that out. I need to catch up. I'm a little behind on these issues, so I need to catch up, and I'm going to try to pick up number 7 sometime this week, hopefully, if I get around to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it, and maybe we can talk more about it next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. We've also got Disney Afternoon Emoji Blitz. We've talked about that a little bit on Twitter and also at DuckTalks.com. Pirate loves playing Emoji Blitz, and he got me into it with the last Disney Afternoon event that they had, where they introduced Donald, Launchpad, and Darkwing. I think that was... Did I say Donald? Scrooge, Launchpad, and Darkwing, and a bunch of other items, but those were the main characters. And then with this event, they've added the Rescue Rangers, Chip and Dale. So you can earn those. That game, it depends on who you talk to about how much fun that game is. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it, but I don't play it as much as Pirate does.
Yeah, he plays it quite a bit.
Yeah, and whenever he shares his scores, I'm like, I just don't see how that's possible. But the more it's one of those games where the more you play, the higher your score can be, just because you play so much. Yeah. But he, I'm going to say a bunch, apparently. He purchased, because you use gems to buy the new characters. He purchased a box, and it's like a blind bag. It's a blind chest, and he got Dale. So he was excited about that. It's got a cool animation. But if it's a great time to pick up the game and try it. The game's free. Of course, you can buy a bunch of stuff, spend a lot of money on it if you want to, but to download and play, it's free. Have you ever played it?
I played it when it originally came out, before they added a lot of these characters in it, and it was fun. It's like one of those kind of like a Bejeweled type of game where you match them up in the rows, and it's one of the games where you can get addicted to it pretty quickly. Yeah, but I for some reason, I think I had a problem with my phone, and when I redid it, I just never put it back on, and I just never really kept playing it. But so is it all the new characters are the Rescue Rangers?
It's just Chip and Dale.
Oh, really? Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty nifty.
Yeah, I play it in spurts, so I'm playing it right now. I have about 80-something gems. You need 200 to get to one of the new characters. So my goal is to get to 100 and then drop $1.99 to get the other 100. And that's how I play. Like I'm not one of these whales when it comes to mobile games where I throw money at it. I won't. I have never played a mobile game that I felt was worth spending $20 on an event. Although I can't say that I have not spent $20 on Overwatch loot boxes.
I've always been the type that I play those free to play, mm-hmm. and I end up playing it so much that I like you said, you get gems, And I'm totally okay grinding out the gyms or then pulling out my wallet for stuff.
And if I like something, I'll spend a few dollars because I realize they're there to make money. And if they're not making some money, the game will not continue. And so, I'll spend a couple of dollars here or there. But man, I look at some of these games and I'm like, $9.99, $15.99. Who pays that for an item? And they're out there. I mean, they have to be, or they wouldn't keep those prices.
Yeah. Well, people do that. I think some of the top grossing games are those ones where they're free to play, but you can buy gems for things in there. So it's people spend the money on that.
So my guilty pleasure is Avengers Academy, and I have this love-hate relationship with this game. Like, I have deleted this game so many times, and then an event or something happened that I'm like, ooh, and I get back into it. But the reason why I used to get frustrated with it, they've updated it, and it's different now. But I used to get frustrated with it because in the event, the player that you really, or the character you really wanted would be like $20.
Oof.
And I'm like, so if you put a $4 character that I really wanted in the game every now and then, you'd get $20 out of me eventually. but I'm not going to spend $20 on one character.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that's neither here nor there or anywhere. Because I don't spend that kind of money. But yeah, Disney Emoji Blitz, it is a lot of fun. I'm playing it a lot right now. My wife enjoys playing it. So we're both on the same scoreboard, and so we're competing every week to get the gold chest, the first place chest, and she beats me every week because she plays it a lot more than I do. So, but yeah, that event goes through March 19th. So there's only a few days left. The great part about the event, if you're just starting the game, seems like in the beginning, you get, so the great part about it is once the event is over, these characters will go to gold boxes, and gold boxes can be obtained a lot more easily. So it's fun to get them during the event, and a few extra stuff. In Emoji Blitz, you can use emojis in your text. So once you've earned them, you can actually put them on your phone, on your keyboard, and use them. So that's kind of cool. So let's, that's it for the news. We've got some items that we'll talk about that's kind of newsworthy, but they're hidden in other topics. So let's move on to duck merch. Woo! Pirate says I have to do that.
Every time?
Every time. Anytime duck merch, woo, is said, you have to do the woo. And I didn't do it right, so he would get on to me. It's woo. All right, so the first thing, we've been talking about this for a few weeks as I hit my mic. Funko Disney Pint Size Heroes Series 2, that's a mouthful, should be out any day. It's already out. Hot Topics has them listed on their website. I did not check today to see if they're in stores yet, because you can check their inventory some. But they do have it on the website. It should be in stores soon. I know that if you bought boxes, you've probably already got yours. We know a certain pirate who has a full set already, and he's done a review on DuckTalks.com of the Donald and Daisy pint-sized heroes. They're really cool. I plan on getting these. Have you seen them?
I've seen pictures, but I haven't seen them in stores yet. But does Hot Topic have exclusive?
Yeah.
Ones?
The only for the let me back up. Yes, there are exclusives. I don't know what they are. Pirate has, he does know what they are, so if he were here, he could tell us.
Oh, he could say, yeah.
Yeah, I think Toys R Us are supposed to get some exclusives as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know what's going to happen with that, though, and I actually meant to have this in our news, and we didn't talk about it. You would have to live under a rock to not have heard about, actually, I guess I should ask you first, have you heard about Toys R Us?
Yes, well, originally the news earlier in the year was, which they are currently doing, is they're closing a majority of their stores. I think it was like 180 stores or something like that.
Yeah, I think they have like 800 stores in the U.S., though.
Yeah, they're closing quite a few, and there's
There's
actually
close to 200, I think.
two in my area are actually closing. One right by my house, and one a little farther, and the one in the middle is still open. And then I've recently been reading the news about how they're thinking about closing all their stores in the U.S., which is, I think, is still considered a rumor, right?
It is. Man, it's sad news. And we actually we were trying to go by there today, to our Toys R Us. We used to have two Toys R Us stores in our area too, in our city. The one that I grew up going to closed a few years back. I guess it was probably not long after they were bought by the company who owns them now. So the store that my girls have grown up going to is on the other end of town, but it's a place that we frequent. I mean, a lot of times when we have daddy-daughter night out, and we go out to eat and do something, a lot of times they want to go walk around Toys R Us. So that toy store has always been a part of their childhood, and it was a part of my childhood. And man, it sucks to hear that this is happening. But yeah, they were supposed to announce on Monday what was going on. As far as there's been a rumor going around that they were going to be closing down all U.S. stores and liquidating everything. It was pushed back to Thursday, from what I've seen. The news should be out on Thursday, but I read another article earlier today that said that there's a couple of their vendors who have reported that Toys R Us has missed their bills, has missed their payments. So, it doesn't look good for Toys R Us. And, man, that really stinks, I think, because, I mean, toys, we always buy toys at the store. I mean, kids don't want to wait on toys, right? You don't want to buy it from Amazon, and even if you have Prime, get 2 days shipping. That's not exciting. So you go to a toy store and you pay a few extra dollars and you have a good time. And I've seen different opinions and stuff online, and people have talked about their prices and the lack of product knowledge and this or that. Man, I never had that experience at our Toys R Us. Our Toys R Us has been awesome, and all the employees have been there for have been there for a while. They're all very knowledgeable, and they're always excited to see your kids and everything. I really hate it. I really do. And
yeah, it's a big shame that if they close them all, it's definitely a big shame. And for the collectors out there, where there's all exclusive stuff at Toys R Us that are there now or coming soon, it's kind of hard to say what's going to happen, if it's just going to be available only online or what. I don't know. Is that what they're kind of trying to plan to do, is just be an online retailer?
Well, I think that's what they're working on, is trying to figure out what they are going to do. Apparently, the company that bought them back in the 90s borrowed like $4 billion to do it, and they can't pay the bills. So they're having to liquidate the company unless they get a buyer. That's my understanding, is that's the only hope for Toys R Us, is that there's a buyer who buys it, including its $4 billion debt.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's not that it hasn't produced money. It's just that it was mismanaged, from everything I've read. It's not that internet sales have killed it. I mean, they survived for a long time with the policy of not price matching, which they recently changed. They'll price match anybody right now.
Yeah.
Even online. So, I mean, it stinks, but It should be Thursday when people are listening to this, so the news should be out there. I guess we'll see what happens with those exclusives, and I'd rally everybody to go to the toy store, but it's really too late at this point.
Shame.
Yeah, I mean, if we all went tomorrow and dropped all of our paycheck at Toys R Us, it wouldn't save them at this point, and unless someone buys it. I mean, that's the only thing. So. But yeah, pint-sized heroes, they'll be exclusives. But really, the Donald one was really the Donald and Daisy were the two that we've been talking about because they kind of relate to the whole duck thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But they look really cool. I like them.
I haven't ever really gotten any pint-sized heroes. And then for the mystery minis, I started with the Disney Afternoon characters. So the smaller collectible blind bag stuff I've never really been into, but these do look really cool, and I may have to pick some up when I come across them.
And they are in bags, so you got a shot of figuring out what you get.
Yeah.
Versus those boxes. Man, I don't like those boxes. Now, I can't remember if it was if it was episode 13 or 14, but we recently talked about some Darkwing Duck pins that had shown up at Disneyland. And we saw on Twitter this past week that someone was at Disney Springs and they saw this pin in one of the stores. They didn't put which store, but it's at one of the stores. And they also had pictures of some of the Disney Afternoon T-shirts and summer wear that was at Disneyland. So looks like that's made it to the East Coast as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's really exciting news for me and Pirate. Not as exciting.
It's closer to you
because you already had these pins.
Yeah, I need to still go pick up the Darkwing Duck. I'm planning on going soon, but what's kind of funny is while I was at the gallery, Silvani and Sparrow both had those pins on when they were walking around. They must have gone to Disneyland or something, but they were both like proudly showing off these pins that are available now, which are really cool. And maybe go and get one for myself.
It's a cool pin. I don't collect pins. I have no use for a pin, but I really like the design. And, Pirate pointed out, it looks like it's based on some of Silvani's art.
Yeah.
So I plan on picking this one up when we go to Orlando this year. We're planning a trip to Disney World, so glad to see it's at Disney Springs, and I figure I'm going to drop some money on it. But yeah, there's some shirts there too being sold at the parks, so that's cool.
Yeah, cool. And
we've had some other reports. Some other friends of the show have sent us pictures of shirts they've seen at parks, so you can check those out. Let's see. So Amazon Pirate sent me this just before you and I started recording. Amazon has listed Disney DuckTales: The Great Dime Chase, not cinematic. That would be awesome. Cinestory comic. So this is like the first Cinestory, which was Woo, and this is going to be based on The Great Dime Chase. I don't know if it's going to be another two-parter and maybe include another story as well, or if it'll be a little bit smaller. The price is $9.99, so I kind of think it's got to have two stories in it to be worth that. But what I found most interesting about this, and I don't know if you heard this about one of the books that we found listed on Amazon had an October release date, and in the description for that book, it said to coincide with the release of Season 2 of DuckTales, saying that DuckTales Season 2 may be releasing on October. Well, This listing on Amazon, this title will be released on November 27th, and in its product description, a new season of Disney's DuckTales is out to find you. What to do, just grab onto a Disney DuckTales Cinestory comic. Woo! The vibrant reboot of the classic Disney afternoon show, Disney DuckTales, is a family comedy adventure series that will follow the epic family, blah, blah, blah. But it starts off by saying a new season of DuckTales. So it looks like, although we're on hiatus right now for Season 1, Season 1 will wrap up in time for Season 2 to begin in October.
Yeah, it can make it sound that it's already out in November. So that's kind of what I'm getting from the description. And so it almost kind of confirms along with the other description that it's going to be around that time frame.
Yeah, and I was if we do not get new episodes until April. There were originally 22 episodes for the series. and I think that final one is an hour long. It's a 44-minute episode. And we're only 9 episodes in. That's 13 episodes left. That means that we're going into July if there's no breaks with DuckTales. So that's a short break, I think, for between season 1 and season 2. I think that has something to do with the hiatus, and then merchandise is going to come out in summer, and they want the episodes airing while there's merchandise coming out, and then I think the programming's changing for the channel, so I think it's all lining up. I think we should start getting new episodes soon, and expect season 2 to begin in October.
It's interesting that if it does go through July, that would be almost like less of a hiatus than we are having now between season 1 and season 2.
Yes, and I think that's part of what they're trying to do. Rather have people wait now. Because, I mean, it's been a huge success for them. I know I've still seen people online say, did it fail? Is it canceled? No, it didn't fail. The premiere was the most watched show on Disney XD. And not to mention, it's been on YouTube. It was free on iTunes. It was free on Amazon. You could watch it for free anywhere.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a huge success. And there's going to be a second season that's already in the works. Third season's probably already being planned. DuckTales is here to stay for a while, I think.
I hope so.
I don't see it being like Gravity Falls. I'm still surprised that Gravity Falls was only 2 seasons. I can't see them doing that with DuckTales. I see DuckTales lasting 3 or 4 seasons. Yeah,
I think the reason why Gravity Falls didn't continue on is because the writer had kind of had a story it wanted to tell, and then he did it, and then didn't want to continue on with it, right? I think that's what I've heard.
Yeah, I didn't watch it until recently, so I don't know any of the backstory other than I think I've read that he's a twin, and so he kind of based, Dipper and Mabel off of him and his sister. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I don't know much about the production of the show.
Okay.
So yeah, that book's coming out in November. You can pre-order it now, and we've said this before. We'll say it again. If you're Amazon Prime, you get that guaranteed price. So if it ever drops down in price, you get the lowest price. Now, the next Duck merch, that we're going to talk about is kind of disappointing and exciting. So apparently this has been out a while, but it just came to our attention today. When someone we follow and communicate with on Twitter called Holy Mangoes tweeted a picture of a Scrooge Tsum Tsum, which got me excited. And so I started looking into it. And it is the red coat Scrooge. And when I got to looking into it, it seems that it's been for sale at the Disney store in Japan for a while, and it's currently sold out. So I don't know that it's something we're going to be getting in the States. Apparently Tsum Tsums are very popular in Japan and not so much in the United States.
Well, we've kind of got caught up in the Tsum Tsum craze a little bit when it first came out, and they originally had sold them over there, and many of which are out here now have been sold for a few years before they started coming out here. And then they started releasing once a month originally. They would release a set, and they were wildly popular at first. And then they started releasing like 2 a month. And I think they kind of oversaturated the market, in my opinion. But they still do release new series at least once or twice a month of these characters. And I mean, it's possible that in the future, if they continue to sell them out here in the U.S., that we can see a DuckTales, I guess, series come out. And didn't you say that there were ones of the Rescue Rangers as well, right?
Yeah, Pirate found out about a set for Rescue Rangers. This is also being released in Japan. Now, the Rescue Rangers were made. They had them at D23,
mm-hmm.
where you could buy them.
a limited, yeah, they had a limited edition of them at D23, and they had
Ranger
the
plane.
characters. What?
They came in the Ranger plane.
Exactly. They came in the Ranger plane, and they actually sold out like almost instantly the day we were there that day, and we knew people who were in line, and they didn't get the Tsum Tsums. They went so fast.
I'm pretty sure Pirate Man cried.
And that was supposed to be an exclusive for the D23, but I don't think like this picture that I have of what they have planned on release includes Fat Cat, which I don't think was included in that.
It's exclusive to this set, I believe.
Okay, yeah, and so I'm not sure if that's ever going to come out here, but that is slightly different than what was available at D23.
Yeah, it would be a cool set to have. I hope these come to the States. I've been surprised my girls did not get into the Tsum Tsum craze. I'm trying to remember. My daughter had like $20 or something, and we went to the Disney store. We have a Disney outlet in our area, and so we were at the Disney outlet, and they had them marked down for, I want to say it was under $1 a piece,
mm-hmm.
and she spent like $15.
Mm-hmm.
So she has a collection of them that she bought, and she still plays with them. Like a week or two ago, she was in the floor playing with some playhouse that she has with those Tsum Tsums. So she plays with them. Those DuckTales Tsum Tsums are something we will buy. I don't know that I'll buy a set for myself, but I know we will at least have a set in the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pretty popular, and I don't see them selling as fast as they used to, but I know people still line up to purchase them on day one when they come out.
The one that I almost purchased was the Clone Trooper.
Mm.
I carried one around with me in a store one time, and I finally put it back. And I was like, I don't have any place to put this. I'm not a good collector. I mostly collect comic books. That's the thing I've always collected. My wife still wants me to get rid of them. But these look cool, and if we hear about them coming to the U.S., we'll definitely let you know. And we want to thank everyone on Twitter that we communicate with that gives us heads up. We've got a number of people that sometimes we just see it on Twitter, and we'll get to look into it. And then sometimes people contact us and ask us if we've seen something. So if you've ever done that, thank you. All right. Well, we do have a tweet to talk about for the Frankly Speaking segment, and we don't have a sound effect for that yet.
I feel like it should be like an echo. Frankly Speaking.
That's perfect. But I came across this. I thought this was something interesting we could talk about. Someone tweeted at Franken Gonez on Twitter and said, "Hey," or actually, let me start again. "Hey there. Just wondered if you'd heard anything about the logic behind new DuckTales episodes airing overseas this coming weekend and the next, ? Period. And Frank says, "Don't know what info you're talking about. I know a promo in South Korea had some new footage, but it was just an overall promo, not for those specific episodes. Overseas channels are premiering episodes already aired in the U.S. I know sometimes episodes will air overseas first because of certain programming efforts, but as far as I've heard, that's not happening with us." And then he followed it up with, I like how Frank sometimes gets 3 tweets deep. He's like me. Mm. He says, "I do know why episodes are being held in the U.S. As I've said before," and he did not have as much attitude as I just did. "As I've said before, it's some very cool reasons that I'll share when I can." So what the person was talking about when they asked Frank about this, there was a promo that hit the internet and in the U.S., and I believe it was on YouTube for a period of time. Someone gave us a heads up that it was there. And it's a South Korean promo. So, it's all in Korean, and the words and everything said, the words on the images. There were some, it looks like it could be dates. People have told me that they are dates, and one says 3/17, and it looks like, we've talked about it, the coming episodes. You've got it there in your notes, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at you have like screenshots of.
Yeah, so I got a few screenshots of this. It has been taken down, so it's not there anymore. So our policy is if the show doesn't want it out there, we're not going to spread it around. So I won't post them online. Other people have them. You can find them. Just look around. We're trying to, be friends of the show.
Actually, this is random. My cube mate at work actually is Korean. He could probably read some of this stuff if I asked him to.
Oh, yes. You have the screenshots now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it included some episodes we had already seen, like the Mark Beeks episode. I can't remember what else was on there. There were 2 or 3 episodes that we have seen that footage on this promo, but there was also a couple of episodes that we had not seen, including the episode that Frank Angones has teased us with about togas and Grease and his favorite new character. There were some images that were interesting, including a glowing sword with some markings on it or some words, but we see the outside of some very Roman looking buildings, and it has what may or may not be the date 3/17. I think it is a date. It looks like a date. And then there's another image of an episode that we've also seen online, or parts of it, that's not out there anymore, and it says 3/24.
Mm-hmm.
So that's led a lot of discussion of, hey, why is South Korea getting these episodes in the next 2 weeks? Why isn't the U.S. getting it? And from what Frank's saying here, he does not believe they're getting those episodes. It looks like it's more likely that maybe episodes will be airing on those days. Maybe it'll be the episodes we've already seen, which would kind of fall into the right time frame if there's at least 2 episodes that we've seen that's about to air in South Korea. Maybe, if we go, I'm trying to bring up a calendar right now, so I'm looking at it, 17th and 24th, and then the 31st, whether they don't have an episode or whatever, and then the beginning of April, we get new episodes. I mean, it kind of fits into the time frame that we're thinking we're going to get new episodes. What do you think?
I really hope that, if those are the dates of the episodes that we get new ones, that I would hope, because that's like, okay.
That's this weekend.
3, that would be this weekend. But you haven't seen anything on the programming, right? Of anything new coming. So maybe they're going to have new episodes on those weekends, and then maybe not necessarily the episodes you have the screenshots of that haven't been aired, but just like you were saying, episodes of new for them but have been aired in the U.S. And hopefully, as it continues to, I guess, air like at a week-by-week basis, then by the time it gets to the point when these episodes air, I'm hoping that at least we will have them, or they'll be airing at the same time as them. So it could potentially be like we were kind of predicting in April that we get these new episodes. And if that's true, I really hope so. I'm excited to see more episodes of DuckTales, because it's been a long hiatus and we're ready for more.
Yeah, and I think what's caused a lot of the discussion is that in the promo, when those numbers, and I didn't even catch it the first few times that I watched it, someone pointed out to me that there were dates on it, and I was like, when were there dates? And I don't know that I would have noticed. And there are. Well, it looks like dates. It says 3 and a 17 with some characters in between that I can't read. But when those numbers come up that we're assuming are dates, it's on footage of the episodes that we haven't seen. So when it says 3/17, it shows images from or animation from an episode we haven't seen. And then when it says 324, it's on animation of an episode we haven't seen. So that's why they're saying that it must be those episodes. I really don't think it is. I think that it's just a clever promo.
Yeah.
Maybe they're re-airing episodes as well. Maybe it's a promo we'll see in English, here in the US soon. But I just checked the calendar, and on Disney XD at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning will be Lilo and Stitch the series, episode The Fibber. Or actually, I'm sorry, I imposed the. It's just episode Fibber. So, and then at 10 o'clock, DuckTales does air with the Beagle Birthday Massacre, which is an excellent episode to catch. But no new DuckTales as of right now on the Disney XD programming.
Hopefully we'll get something soon.
And Frank did say that as soon as he could tell us, he would. He said, I'll share when I can. So I know they get a lot of questions constantly about when the hiatus is over. Every time I do a search for DuckTales on Twitter, that's 9 times out of 10 what I see. That or shipping. There's a lot of shipping. So maybe 8 times out of 10 it's hiatus, and 2 times it's shipping. We don't ship. We don't ship on DuckTalks.
Not that kind of shipping.
Yeah, we ship things to one another every now and then, but
I'm actually trying to, as we speak, trying to Google Translate these pictures that you have to see if anything comes up, but it's not working. So
yeah, those characters, I have no idea how that language works, so I wouldn't even know where to begin. So, and I know there are people that have been working on it. We've got some great people in our Discord chat over at Res TV who have been talking about it and have been sharing information that they've gotten from other servers. So, well, we're trying to stay on top of it, see what information we can get. So I think that does it for us this week. Josh, do you have anything else that we to add to the show?
I don't think so. I think we've pretty much covered everything. Now I'm curious about what this thing says, and so I'm probably going to be spending the next few days like obsessing over what these things may say. But
just keep in mind, it is strictly a promo, so it's probably just telling you the day and time of new episodes.
Yeah.
I don't think it should keep you up tonight. Or this afternoon, whatever time it is there.
Yeah.
So, well, that is going to do it for this episode of Duck Talks, and we want to appreciate you guys. We just want to let you guys know that we appreciate you listening, and each and every episode, this is something that's been very fun for me. I've wanted to do a podcast for a while, and me and Pirate, we've enjoyed doing this, and we're loving it. And I know we've missed a few episodes here or there recently. We've had a lot going on in life, and but this is something that we're dedicated to, and we want to put out good quality content. And there's been some times that we probably could have recorded late at night, and we were just like, we're really not. We wouldn't be able to put out anything good, so we put it off. And I think that's better for now. We'll get into the. We'll get into a regular schedule again. The plan is to have new episodes out on Wednesdays, so that's when you can find those episodes. However, I would recommend that you subscribe to our podcast. We're on multiple podcatchers. Of course, iTunes is the number one way that most of our listeners find us. And on those podcatchers, you can subscribe. So it's the easy thing to do. Just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you should receive a notification when there's a new episode. And that way, you can download it and listen to it. Maybe it downloads automatically for you, however you have your stuff set up. But it's the easiest way to find us. However, if you can also find us on Twitter. We always let people know when a new episode's out, just in case someone new comes across, because if you've been listening, you should subscribe. Subscribe. But yeah, you can find us that way. Find us at DuckTalks on Twitter. We have the website, DuckTalks.com. Again, I'm so thankful for all the traffic that we've been getting and everyone checking out the site. those of you who have been communicating with us and telling us about the content and, letting us know that you like what we're doing. Appreciate it so much. You're awesome. You can also check us out at our Discord. Res.tv has a Discord, and we share that link a lot. You can find it at res.tv as well. It's a chat room, and there's multiple rooms, and DuckTalks has its own room. I really don't know any other way to explaining it. One of these days I'll sit down with Lloyd and get him to explain it to me in a way that I can present it on the podcast. But we have a good time. I'm usually in there every day talking with someone. We've got a great group of individuals in there who are talking, so I want to say thanks to them. I know they listen to the show. They comment on it. So just thank you to everyone. And, Josh, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate the invitation. Hopefully I'll be around for another few more shows. And I know Pirate's going through a bunch of big things right now, so I might be back sooner than later. But
it's likely.
It was a lot of fun talking about DuckTales and all the new stuff that's coming out. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm always glad to have you on. We, the three of us, we have an open chat where we're always talking throughout the week, except for when Josh is sick. And he just falls off the face of the earth for a few days. But, hey, we do want to let you know, and I probably should wait for Pirate to be here to say something like this, but, we consider you part of this show. When we started working on it and trying to get our wild schedules together in order to record, we it's not always easy to get a bunch of people together, and we appreciate, you coming on all the time. I think this is like your third or fourth episode you've been on, and talking with us when Pirate can and cannot be here. But, we consider you part of the show, and we value your input on everything, and we enjoy having you on. So we'll have you on as often as we can, and we'll continue talking about this stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for having me.
Well, that'll do it for us again this week, and since we don't have any better outros yet, until next time.
See you guys later. Woohoo.
Just so you know, I'm leaving that in there.